Some people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because their ambition becomes the place they hide. And the hardest part is, from the outside, it looks exactly like laziness. But it isn't. People like this are often the most visionary in the room. In school, they were the ones with the biggest ideas during group projects, the ones who could see the whole picture before anyone else. Teachers either loved them or quietly gave up on them because their output never matched their obvious intelligence. At work, they're the ones who understand the deeper problem, while everyone else is focused on the surface task. They often have opinions they don't share, plans they don't show, a version of their life running silently in the background that nobody around them knows exists. In conversations, they light up when the topic turns to possibilities, what could be built, what could change, what they've been thinking about. And then the conversation ends, and nothing moves. In their quiet moments, alone, they return to the dream again. They refine it, they feel it, and somehow that feeling is enough to get through the day, until it isn't. Here's what's actually happening inside that mind. They are not lacking dreams. They are overwhelmed by the emotional weight attached to action. Their imagination is unusually powerful. It generates a full sensory experience of the future, the success, the version of themselves who made it. And that experience produces a real emotional reward, real dopamine, real relief, real hope. So the brain learns a pattern. Return to the dream when life feels heavy. It works every time. And slowly, without anyone noticing, including themselves, the dream stops being a destination. It becomes a coping mechanism. They are not avoiding the work. They are protecting the only place that still feels safe. Pattern 1. They plan endlessly, but never begin. They have notebooks, voice memos, detailed timelines, the whole thing mapped out. But starting means the perfect internal version must now survive contact with a messy external world. And something in them knows that once they begin, they can no longer say they would have succeeded. The plan stays perfect by staying untested. Pattern 2. They talk about it just enough to feel movement. Telling someone about the plan produces a small but real sense of progress. The brain registers it as a step forward. Others hear it as commitment. But what it actually is pressure release. Enough to keep the energy alive, not enough to demand action. Pattern 3. They get close and then quietly disappear. They sign up, they start, they show early promise, and then they slow down, pull back, and eventually stop. People around them call it inconsistency. What it actually is self-protection. Because getting close to the dream means the moment of judgment is real now, and a mind that has survived on potential cannot easily risk finding out what happens when potential is tested. Pattern 4. They consume endlessly instead of creating. They watch, they read, they follow people doing the thing they want to do, and it genuinely feels like preparation. But consumption without creation is just dreaming at a higher resolution. The gap never closes, it just becomes more detailed. Pattern 5. They mistake emotional readiness for the starting condition. They tell themselves they will begin when they feel ready, when life is calmer, when the fear is gone. But the fear never disappears before action. It only quiets after it. People like this are waiting for a feeling that only exists on the other side of the thing they haven't done yet. Here is what nobody says about people like this. This is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is not a character flaw dressed up as ambition. It is what happens when a deeply feeling, deeply imagining mind never learned that discomfort is not a stop sign. It is a threshold. They were likely someone who felt failure more intensely than others, who took disappointment personally, who learned early that keeping the dream inside was safer than watching it struggle in the real world. So they protected it the only way they knew how, by never fully releasing it. The shift for people like this is not about discipline or motivation. It is about understanding that the dream was never meant to be lived inside the mind. It was meant to be damaged a little, tested, embarrassed, rebuilt. That is not the destruction of the vision. That is how the vision becomes real. Sometimes the biggest dream is not the problem. The fear of what reality might say back is. And the only way to answer that fear is to let reality speak. If this felt like a description of someone you know or someone you are, stay here. Subscribe. Because this channel exists to explain the minds that most people never take the time to understand.